Joe Biden. Joe Rogan apologized for his podcast where he like told 290 million fucking people or however many people watch his podcast that the Portland fires were started by Antifa. He said, I fucked up on the podcast with Douglas Murray and said that people got arrested lighting fires in Portland. That turns out not to be true. I was very irresponsible not looking into it before I repeated it. I read one story about a guy getting arrested for lighting fires that turned out to be true.
His name is Hasan.
That getting voted out with the incumbent advantage is the worst kind of loss. No way he would run again. Yeah. But the other shit I read about people getting arrested for lifting fires in Portland was not true. I repeated it without looking into it, and I was really fucking stupid mistake. That won't happen again. I'm sorry. Stupid fucking mistakes. Good. At least he's owning up to it. Sagar is my favorite media personality now. Like, I love following Sagar. I love watching the stuff that he says because, like, here's a thing that, like, annoying right-wing people do all the fucking time where they fucking turn around and act like the media does not offer retractions. Like the liberal media does not ever offer retractions for incorrect information that they print. And also on top of that, they also make it seem like MSM or liberal media don't like try to further investigate before talking about shit. Like, no, dog. That's not how any of this works. And you know better because you fucking work in mainstream media. You're literally at the Hill, dog. Come on. But I know it plays really well. It plays really well to your fucking audience.
His name is Hasan.
Hey, Hasan, second thought on the show when? He said he would come on the show if you asked him. Also, new ST
I know, we're going to watch a new
today.
second thought video soon. They retract stuff like 10 days after the damage is done. I mean, they do. That's not true. It depends. It depends on who they're doing it to. Dude, I've literally been at the fucking heart of this. Like, I watched my uncle get called a white supremacist by the New York Times for running against an establishment Democrat at a jungle primary, okay? I know what that looks like. I've literally seen it personally. And at the time, they were combing through my fucking Twitch to, like, find something to shit on me for as well. Like, that's how fucking aggressive liberals are to those that are further left than them. They will fucking end you. They will end your career. They will end your fucking life, dude. You guys were there. Some of you were there. You know. Jake Tapper tried to get me to fucking apologize to like every woman in media because I said establishment media cunts. Like, these guys they don't care. They have no fucking principles. All they want to do is cancel people, specifically that cancel people that are going against their political goals.
You will acknowledge me,
and they'll do whatever they can. Anyway, my chud friend and I were arguing last night about whether or not Antifa is an organization. His two sources were OAN and Steven Crowder on Joe Rogan. When I told him those weren't unbiased sources, he said all sources are biased. How do I argue with someone like that? Yes, of course all sources are biased. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. The Associated Press is fucking biased too. It's impossible not to have any sort of fucking bias when you're covering the goddamn news. It's impossible. When you write, like, the perfect example for that, no, every single source is a bias. You're being crazy. When you're talking about that, like, even the passive language utilized by the media when covering police shootings, where instead of saying police shooting, they'll say an officer involved incident. That's neutrality, but that's super fucking biased on the side of the police. You think that's not deliberate? Of course it's deliberate. Reuters covers it like that too, and they're a part of that. They absolutely do this. They are all fucking biased. Everyone is biased. But having said that, there's a difference between, like, grifting and purposely misrepresenting information, which Steve Crowder does all the time, and conspiracy theories like OAN. Would you explain what will actually happen if we get Rep and Trump out of power? I'm not American, but your politics affects mine heavily. I mean, not a lot. It's just that, like, America's acceleration into fascism will be prolonged by like 4 more years. Hopefully 8.
His name is Hasan.
You think Trump refusing to leave office if he's voted out is a possibility? No. What's your stance on cancel culture? Curious to know. I think it's like really hard. We don't really define it at all. I think there are people who are fucking cancel worthy, and literally everyone will agree with this. No one is an anti-cancel culture person. Everyone does it. Republicans do it all the fucking time. Democrats do it all the fucking time. The left does it all the fucking time. Alt-righters even do it all the fucking time. It's just that everyone does it, but Republicans have been able to control that narrative and make it seem like only the left is doing cancel culture. No, you can tell the facts like it is and not put a bias in it. Yes, you can. Dude, I just gave you a perfect example of neutral language. It's called passive language that creates a neutral tone that immediately absolves the police officers in a police officer related shooting where a cop kills someone, even if they're fucking unarmed. I literally just gave you that example. That is biased and on the side of the cops. Automatically. When you use passive language like that, it's biased. If you don't use passive language and you use active language, then you're still biased.
Thanks for being hilarious, brother.
But there's a difference between that, and that's why I always say it's incredibly important to keep like getting your news from more credible, legitimate institutions, and more credible institutions like the New York Times, who literally fucking called my uncle a white supremacist for debating fucking David Duke. And even then, I still tell you I'm super cucked to the New York Times because they do some of the best journalism out there. I recommend Associated Press, recommend Reuters. Like, these are still sources that you have to trust because they are the best of what we have. On top of that, though, sources that have more, or outlets that have credibility, but maybe a little bit more of an overt anti-establishment bias. I would say Democracy Now! Is incredible. It's probably the best. And The Intercept is really good too. But I love Democracy Now! I love Amy Goodman. She's a bit of a lib from time to time, but ultimately I still love her. I will always love her and always respect her. Juan Gonzalez from New Brunswick, New Jersey, and Normian Sheikh. You always criticize New York Times, though? Yeah, because they fuck up and they're fucking terrible. They literally, I mean, they lied as well when they took us into Iraq. They lie all the time about American foreign policy. They suspiciously always find themselves on the side of whatever the State Department's foreign interests are. So weird. Oh, I don't know how that happened. Of course, I'm going to still criticize them. Ooh, oopsie. Oopsie. I don't know how the fuck I don't know why we didn't do more journalism when it came to the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
His name is Hasan.
That the intelligence community slid our way. Oopsie doopsie.
To watch too.
How do we deal with the people who see OAN as being more honest than the New York Times? Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. That's just fucking degenerative brain disease. I mean, OAN is literally Alex Jones, but like people have never fucking paid attention to it enough, so they like grew in the background. Okay? Yeah, New York Times Bolivia coverage. Perfect example. Ooh, democracy is coming to Bolivia. It's like literally a fucking violent coup d'etat pushed by ultra fascists, but hey, you know, Evo Morales is a fucking left-leaning or democratic socialist, so obviously he deserved to be overthrown. Don't be crazy, right? Even if he was overthrown by ultra-nationalist, Catholic, fucking psychopathic fascists who want to fucking wipe out the indigenous population. But hey, that was democracy, if you ask the New York Times, who then apologized for it like 7 months later and said, oopsie, we lied about what happened. What did you train at the gym today, King? I actually had a friend come over and we put the fucking weights outside and we did deadlifts. I did deadlifts and I did like shoulder
Hasan.
presses and stuff like that.
Love
like
this stream.
Anyway, but that doesn't matter because the New York Times, with all of their fucking failures and all their faults, is still better on domestic coverage than fucking OAN or Fox News or any number of different outlets. Yeah, New York Times used to love Pinochet in the fucking 80s. Wall Street Journal literally endorsed Pinochet. Wall Street Journal literally endorsed Jair Bolsonaro. Like, these guys are fucking terrible, okay? Historically, they've been terrible, and they're still fucking terrible. Ultimately, they're still infinitely better than Breitbart. It is rather similar to the two-party system that we have, where it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to side with the person who's literally like, we should do a little bit of fascism? It's very good. It's very good. Come on. The blacks are coming into your neighborhoods. Just try it out. Just a little bit of fascism. Or are you going to go again? Are you going to go with the guy who's like, we'll keep doing fracking, Jack, and we're not going to really fight back against fascism that much, but hey, at least we'll write a stern letter to your congressman. Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy who's like, at least not saying, let's accelerate into fascism. That's it. Say Bolsonaro again? Did I say it wrong? Anyway, there's also bias between journalists and editorial staff. Same with the Wall Street Journal. Same with all these outlets. But it doesn't matter because the bias that we're talking about right now is like within objective news coverage. We're not even talking about the bias that you see in the editorial board, which is of course going to be biased. It's all op-eds. But that bias, in my opinion at least, showcases the bias of the fucking paper. And that's why it's not an accident when they cover Bolsonaro, when they cover Bolsonaro like he is a legitimate anti-SJW wing of Brazilian politics, when he's so much more than he's literal fucking dictatorial fascist who has tortured people and said it was pretty poggers when he did it.